Now, folks, we've been talking about the Bank for International Settlements, how that's the one bank that owns all the other central banks around the world. Now, a central bank is the bank that you have in your country. In our country here, the United States of America, we have the Federal Reserve Bank. And you'll notice if you go to the BIS.org, it's the only bank in the whole organization, 207 of them, that has the name of the bank issued or reflected that way. Most of them are central bank of or a bank of or whatever. What we have is the Federal Reserve Bank. They're not federal. They have no reserves, and they were elected to be in charge on December 23rd, 1913. Well, tell me, did we have airplanes back then? Could we fly somebody from Washington State, Oregon, California, Nevada, whatever, get them into Washington, D.C. and vote and have them back the following day for December 24th, 1913 in order to get ready for their Christmas? I don't think so. So did we, in fact, have a quorum? What's legal, what's not legal? We're going to pack some real good suitcases here. Take a look what Catherine Ashton Fitz has to say.
What's the purpose of the Bank of International Settlements?
Okay, so there are two things you need to know about the Bank of International Settlements. It has sovereign immunity.
What does that mean?
It's above the law.
It's its own country.
Right. It's its own country. It has its own police force. And essentially, other than one of its staff being in a car accident or, minor things, no one has the legal authority to move against it. Okay, it has sovereign immunity. That's number one. Number two, it can move money and hold it on its balance sheet and manage money secretly. So if I want to, I'm grossly oversimplifying, if I want to steal 21 trillion from the US government and park it on the balance sheet of the BIS, it can move it anywhere in the world and it can keep it on its balance sheet.
Are you starting to see why you want to hold your own purchasing power? Swap out the word money for purchasing power, okay? Because purchasing power is really what we want to be preserving, not the digits or not the paper or whatever else. What we want to do is preserve the energy that we put out in order to earn what it is that the medium is, whether it's fiat currency, or real money, as the Constitution calls for, Article 1, Section 10. Well, come to a very interesting topic here today. We haven't talked about John Exter for a while. I'm going to have a little fun, and so are you. You guys are learning an awful lot. You're not even knowing it because you're laughing and having a good time, and it's up there in inside your cranial orb, believe me. Ted Heads, good morning. Today we're diving into an important topic, a wonderfully important topic, John Exter's pyramid, how it impacts the value of the dollar and its ripple effects on silver pricing. We'll also ask an intriguing question: is there a connection between John Exter and Voltaire? Stick with me. The news we have may surprise you. Let's begin with John Exter, a man whose work and ideas have had a lasting impact on how we understand the global financial system. John Exter was a renowned economist and central banker who worked at the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England, and he's perhaps best remembered for creating what's known as Exter's pyramid. Do we have a video or a slide of that? See if we can prepare that for him. A brilliant model of how people view and shift their assets during times of economic crisis. Ooh, wow. What did China just do? Stay tuned. Exter's pyramid is simple but incredibly insightful. At the base of the pyramid lies the most liquid, low-risk assets, things like cash and government bonds. These assets are generally considered safe and are held by investors during stable economic periods. As you move up the pyramid, you get into riskier assets, stocks, real estate, and corporate bonds. At the very top of Exter's pyramid lies the ultimate safe haven, gold and silver, in that order. These metals are the last line of defense in times of financial turmoil, and they have stood the test of time as stores of value. That's what we're talking about. Forget about the dollar as a piece of paper or whatever name you want to give. What we're really talking about is preserving your purchasing power. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. So when you expend your purchasing power, you need to receive something back, what's called like kind or fair exchange for value. Effort went into producing this. No effort went into putting ink on a piece of paper. So now what's happening today is we witness unprecedented levels of debt and financial instability around the world. We are starting to see Exter's pyramid come to life. The dollar, once a symbol of financial stability, is now showing cracks. Government debt is in unsustainable levels, and central banks are printing money at a rate that raises serious questions about inflation, the purchasing power of the fiat currencies. According to Exter's pyramid, when things go wrong, there is inflation, currency debasement, or a crisis. Investors begin to move up the pyramid seeking safer and more stable assets. You should be doing the same. I already have. And what do we see at the times of financial stress? People rush to gold and silver. China just rushed in a major way. Historically, these metals have been the bedrock of value and their ultimate safe havens during times of uncertainty. Now, this brings us to an important question. How does this affect silver pricing? As we witness more instability in the dollar and other fiat currencies, silver, like gold, starts to rise. The premiums on silver coins and bullion have been increasing as demand grows and the supply of physical silver continues to tighten. This upward movement in silver pricing is a direct reflection of the market's recognition of the diminishing value of the fiat. We talked about that yesterday. So as the price of the dollar goes up, as the price of gold goes up, actually what it's indicating is the value of the dollar is going down. When a financial system faces stress, whether it's through rising debt, inflation, or currency manipulation, people begin to lose trust in paper money. I did a long time ago. You should too. As John Exter's pyramid suggests, once that trust is lost, there's a flight to safety, and gold and silver become the asset of choice. As the dollar weakens, silver's role as a hedge against inflation becomes even more crucial, and its price is driven higher by investors looking for protection. We all are right now. Don't trust anybody with its purchasing power. Hold it yourself. Coin of the realm, minimum denomination. We've been talking about this. 14 dimes gives you 1 troy ounce of pure silver. Think of the divisibility you have with dimes as opposed to just simply buying 1 ounce somewhere else. But now let's add an intriguing layer to the conversation. Could John Exter somehow be connected to Voltaire? Wouldn't this be fun? That might sound like a bit strange at first, but when you look deeper, the connection makes sense. Voltaire, the famous French philosopher, is quoted as saying, paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value, zero. You guys are learning stuff you don't learn until you get a master's or something like that. You guys are excellent people, really. Congratulations, you're learning a hell of a lot. While this quote may seem extreme, it has proven time and time again throughout history. Fiat currencies such as the dollar lose their value once trust in them is gone, and the only true money that remains is that of gold and silver. Voltaire, living in the 18th century, was witness to the collapse of several fiat currency systems in Europe, and he recognized a simple truth. When a government abuses its control over the money supply, inflation occurs, and the value of the currency crumbles. We've seen this scenario unfold repeatedly throughout history, whether it's during the hyperinflation in Weimar Germany, the collapse of the Argentine peso, or the current state of Venezuela. Exter, much like Voltaire, understood the fragile nature of fiat currencies and the eventual need to return to sound money. In his pyramid, gold and silver sit at the top and the most secure assets. Silver's at the very pinnacle. Silver's at the top. There's very little silver to be used for monetary purposes as opposed to gold. Take a look. Exter was warning us, just as Voltaire did, that once the paper value of money erodes, there's only one place to turn: real money, precious metals, the coin of the realm, as we often refer to it. So what does all this mean for us today? We're living in a time where the dollar's dominance is being questioned. As we see rising inflation, mounting debt, and the devaluation of paper currencies, Exter's pyramid is more relevant than ever. We see the shift from fiat money towards precious metals, the smart ones. In times of war, smart money moves to hard money, with silver playing an increasingly important role in the financial world. As the dollar weakens, silver strengthens, both as a store of value and as a hedge against dollar's decline. You see it. 99.5% of the people in America do not see this. That's why this is such a tremendous opportunity for you. And that's why Margaret Ann and I came out of retirement for the second time to help you guys get things together. First time was to talk to you about estate planning, revocable living trust, and how to stay out of probate and guardianship courts. This is a reminder for all of us, just as Voltaire warned that paper money eventually returns to zero. Exter's pyramid tells that in times of crisis, gold and silver will rise to the top. As the financial world continues to experience turbulence, it's becoming clearer that the real value lies in precious metals, not paper or digital currencies. In closing, we must recognize the powerful lessons that both John Exter and Voltaire. Exter's pyramid offers us a visual map of how the financial world responds to a crisis, how we move up the pyramid in search for security. And Voltaire's warning about fiat currency reminds us that paper's value and money value is fragile. Once trust is lost, it's gone forever. As we navigate this uncertain financial landscape, remember that silver, along with gold, is your ticket to safety, your hedge against inflation, and your protection against the collapse of the fiat currencies. 89 examples I have over my table here. Don't make yours 89. Get out of the fiat currency, get into the real money, the money of your country. Look it up. Give me a call after the show or whatever, and I'll help you out. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep your investment secure. I look forward to our next deep dive into a fascinating world of finance, don't you?
Hours in geopolitics. Venezuela has suspended flights from Colombia for 1 week after arresting over 30 individuals allegedly plotting to disrupt upcoming elections, including claims of plans to target embassies and public institutions. Those detained reportedly included foreigners with Colombian, Mexican, and Ukrainian citizenship. Denmark is set to approve a defense agreement granting the US broad military access to 3 Danish airbases and jurisdiction over its own forces, including powers over Danish civilians, prompting legal and political concerns about sovereignty and accountability. The UK, France, and Canada jointly condemned Israel's expanded military offensive in Gaza, labeling its actions egregious. The UK and EU have reached a post-Brexit agreement to ease trade barriers and deepen security cooperation, with measures including reduced checks on food exports, restored pet travel, and UK participation in EU defence procurement. After a 2-hour call with Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump announced that Russia and Ukraine would immediately begin ceasefire negotiations, with both leaders expressing optimism about reaching a peace agreement, though Russia indicated no urgency in setting a